Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Tone's Market Analysis for Sunday, April 16th. Hope everyone is doing well. As you can see, I did update my blog a little bit. I'm still about 3 weeks behind on all my content. That does need to go on my blog. Also updated my calendar over here on the right side. Now, not everything on this calendar are events I will be at or will be speaking at. These are just events that are of interest to me, but I will announce any events I'm actually physically attending. But right now, everything is somewhat up in the air. All right, I'm going to jump right into the markets, and then I'll give my thoughts, and then we'll do live Q&A as usual. Try to save your questions. Don't ask your questions quite yet. Ask them towards the end. It will be easier for me to find them. And as always, start off with the capital word question. Thank you again for a couple of donations that came in. Appreciate it. And of course, following me on Twitter, forwarding my videos around. That's great. All right, let's jump right into the markets. So the stock market was closed on Friday because of Good Friday and Easter. So the U.S. markets were closed. Thursday was not a very good day for the market. And I really should have did this video 2 hours from now at 6 p.m. so that I can see how the futures market in equities is opening, because right now we are at a very critical support line. We are sitting right at a line I actually drew last week. I haven't updated this line. If you go back to the previous video, I just opened up my chart and I saw, oh man, we're literally right at this line. So tomorrow is going to be like a make or break day for the S&P 500. Either we bounce and this was a fake out of this triangle, or we fall below the line. If we close at a lower low tomorrow, it will basically set a bearish tone for the market, where you would actually be able to open a bearish position on the market. So maybe I'll go ahead and do that. And unfortunately, again, I can't see what the market looks like, but I'm going to go ahead and throw a short position on the market, but I would need a lower low, right? So I would do one of these, and now I'm going to adjust the numbers here. So I would definitely want to see a lower low. If the market opens at a up tomorrow morning and goes up, then this trade never gets entered. So the stop loss can pretty much be above Thursday's candle, right? So it would be definitely wouldn't be that high. It would be in the vicinity of 23, let's say 45. And your gain, well, you're probably looking at a decent pullback in the stock market to at least 20. What happens if I put 20? Well, it's not going to be 2,300. Well, what happens if I put 2,300? How does that look? See, that's not a good enough risk-reward ratio. That would be somewhere, that would be an area where you want to start to set your break-even stop loss. So you're probably looking at 2,200. And that's a little much. That's more reasonable, something like 25. Now I want to match that. I want to match that 200-day moving average, right? It's a little higher, so 30 should do it, right? So that's kind of what you're looking at. But because I don't know how it's going to open tomorrow, it's a little hard to judge, and this may be a little premature. But there's really open air right now to the downside. There's really not much working for the market to the upside. You're a little late to this trade, but I mean, it was a good time to short the market right here on this trend line false breakout, or upon the initial fall out. So you are a little late to this trade. So this is not a very confidence boosting trade. And this is where one trader is separated from another, because he has to properly judge, is the market actually going to close at a new low, at a new monthly low? And you're not going to get whipsawed into the trade and then have it reverse on you. And if it starts going against you, like you can probably set a very tight stop. But I'm going to leave it like this for now, and I'm going to revisit this in the middle of the week and see how it goes. So let's save that. This is not a very confidence boosting. It's a trade, but it's not all that confident. See, you can see it here as well, right? This is the line that we've had here for a while. So this green arrow at this point, we can almost remove it. That clearly it bounced for like a week, but it didn't hold. So at this point on the weekly chart, you are also looking at a fall down to the 50-week moving average. It'll be a nice clean pullback. So let's see how that goes. I'm not going to delete the arrow yet. I'll probably delete it next time I shoot this video. As you can see down here, I know I'm spending a little extra time on the S&P 500 today, but I'm getting kind of sick of Bitcoin anyway, so I don't mind. You can see right here, the RSI went overbought. And didn't draw that all that well, but you get the point. It hasn't gone overbought in a while. Last time it was overbought was over here, and I, didn't have a good month after that, right? So, and we haven't been oversold in a long time. I mean, we didn't even go oversold on these crashes. We didn't go oversold on the Trump fall. So we got so much room to fall before we even go into oversold territory that the market is very bullish. Also, I didn't even realize till just now. Also, you can see right here. Let's unclick it. No, not really. You can see that your MACD has also crossed. So that's another indication that market can take a little bit of a break. Okay, so let's see how that short trade works out. All right, so let me save this, and on this note, I'm done with the S&P 500. All right, gold. So here's the bullish trade had on, and this is where you gotta remember, right? Like you got whipsawed into this trade on the upside. Then you got immediately smashed into the red on the downside, and it depends on how you set your stop loss. My initial stop loss on this would have been hit intraday, but it would not have been hit closing day, right? So this is so this is how an individual trader plays it. And we're going to the upside. And remember, when I put this bullish trade on, I said that right here at the 1285 mark, you were going to hit weekly declining trend line resistance. And this is where your bullish trade, you need to take a very cautious look at your bullish trade, even though your target is all the way in the 1320 range, okay? And looking at the weekly, you can see that you are hitting this trend line. So again, it kind of sucks for me doing this video at 4 p.m. on a Sunday, because at 6 p.m. The futures market's open, and you can kind of get a glimpse if gold is opening quiet and steady, or something happened yesterday on Saturday that already caused buying, or a panic selling has already started. You won't really know till Monday. So I'm going to leave this red arrow. I'm going to leave this bullish trade. But this is one of those situations where you can be bullish on the daily chart, but bearish on the weekly chart. It's rare, but it's an interesting situation. So if the price looks like it's breaking out on Monday, bullish gold into the next level of resistance at 1375. But if gold starts to have a bad week, this trade immediately comes off the table, and the weekly bearish trade becomes a real trade. So I'm debating of whether to throw on like a bearish trade right now on gold with a very tight stop, but I'll wait. Let's see how it opens, and I'll do another one of these videos on Wednesday. Hopefully this trade won't get away from us by Wednesday. All right, let's close these. Oil. So oil is back in bullish territory. Once again, I'm going to be late to this oil trade only because I just, I didn't have much confidence, even though I kept saying it should bounce off of the 50-day moving average and the support right here of the RSI. Didn't really have enough confidence. This is another one of those things where I really want to be bearish oil finally again, but we just had like 3 weeks of up moves, and it's hard to say how much more momentum oil has left. So it's one of those weird trades. I'm going to stay away from it, but oil is certainly bullish. At the moment oil goes above $55 a barrel, it actually becomes ultra bullish. So these arrows seem to be working out fine. I know I've had these arrows like back here and I've slid them over, but oil remains in bullish territory for now. The euro is a total basket case. I really should have put on a bearish trade right here as we were approaching the declining 50-week moving average. I don't know why I didn't. You know what? Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to put on a bearish trade on the euro. And let's see how it opens, because I would do it at, let's see. This is going to be a very long-term trade. So at a nice round number of 1.05. And it would be 0.08. I'm going to give it, I guess, a little, I don't know what I did there. Let's try that again. Let's make an 8. Right now, what I really want to write here is like 0.5, but realistically speaking, I actually want to see it, so let's do 7.5. I mean, the euro is just done. If you live in Europe and you're holding euros, I have no clue what you're at, what people are thinking, right? It's just done. So I'm gonna leave that. No, I don't want to enter it sooner. What if I do 5.5? A little better, right? Yeah, let's see if that enters. Yeah, let's see if that enters. I want it to go down a little bit more because the confidence in euro is going to erode very, very quickly, especially with the French election coming up. So let's save that. Let's see what happens. And our euro versus the pound trade is working out very nicely. You are sitting right at support. I'm expecting this to fall more. And actually, once you're reaching this base, once you're reaching that 0.835 territory, this is one of those trades where I would just double down on the short. You can definitely set a break-even stop loss right now to make sure this trade doesn't cost you anything. But again, these are the kinds of trades I like. I just like these low risk, high potential reward trades. And if they go against you, that's fine. You can get like 7 of these wrong in a row and then catch 3 of them right, and you like made up for all of your losses, as long as you allocate your capital correctly. Yeah, so looking good. I think the euro was way undervalued, and the pound is way undervalued, and the euro is way overvalued. And here's the euro. Let's see how this works out. I mean, this is going to be like this is one of those trades that's like for the rest of the year, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm already going into 2018. So let's I'll bring this back a little bit. Let's see what happens by end of the year. Like I'm very bearish the euro. I mean, I don't see anything there. All right, so we're about 15 minutes into the video. I'm up to Bitcoin now, so this is the time for you to throw your questions out, or maybe a little bit later, right? Let me finish Bitcoin. I'm going to give some of my thoughts. We're up to 100 viewers, which is great. I do get to like 200 live viewers towards the Q&A part, so I'm sure more will come. But go ahead and throw your questions in there towards the end of me talking about Bitcoin. If Rich is watching this live, maybe he'll compile them for me. Otherwise, I'll have to scroll through the chat. If you guys are very active in the chat, I may not be able to scroll all the way to the top. All right, so here's Bitcoin. And I did say earlier that I'm sick of Bitcoin. I'm just like so frustrated with everything, and I'm becoming more popular, and more people like to, give their 2 cents in. And I'm not able to reply to everyone's comments. 80% of comments to me are either people that are very, very new, or people that are just very, very dumb. And I just don't have time to reply to all of them. So it has been getting a little more frustrating than usual. So here's the Brave New Coin Liquid Index. And we're sitting exactly where I thought we would at this point in time. I mean, this index is not going to update for another 4 hours or so. But when I put this chart together and I published it on TradingView early in the year, back in like late January or something, like right around here, I expected us to be at this point in time right around the 1150, 1175 area. So we're actually a smidge higher than I expected us to be. So everything kind of looks good here. I mean, I'm not too happy with the MACD crossover and the RSI. Like, we need this bullish trend to continue. We need a higher high with a higher MACD and a higher RSI. We already had a divergence between this top and this top. You can see it right here. The MACD is a little bit lower. I mean, the cross came higher, so the MACD is kind of neutral, but the RSI clearly shows divergence. And when you have this divergence of the RSI versus the price, it means that the price is usually lying and lower prices are on the way. We did get lower prices, but we fell to a reasonable area by 915 area, which I've talked about for a while. So we have a little bit of a pullback, and this latest pullback, I believe, is, and I'm going to get to this question. Someone asked a very good question last week on live Q&A that I couldn't answer. And I will answer it today because I've thought about it. Sometimes questions aren't easy to answer right on the spot. You need, you need like at least 5 minutes to think, and I couldn't pull it off last time. So someone asked, what is Bitcoin negatively correlated to? And lately, Bitcoin price has been negatively correlated to statements by Roger Ver. So this current drop in price is directly negatively correlated to the public service announcement on Bitcoin.com. And Roger Ver's tweet that nobody should be running a full node, which is the complete opposite of what I've been saying about full nodes, right? So he thinks only miners should run full nodes, so only miners should basically be in control of Bitcoin. So when statements like that come out, they affect the price and the price drops. Okay, and I'll talk a little more about that in a bit. Oh, I forgot to pull up my weekly chart, but the weekly chart doesn't like. You know what? I'll pull up a different weekly chart in a minute. So here's the daily channel. Looks exactly the same. I am using Bitfinex, and I'm going to talk about Bitfinex in a minute. But here's the daily channel. We're still inside this channel. I keep extending this channel, you know, but so we got. Let's see how long we can stay in it. I mean, the longer we stay in it, the better it is for the price of Bitcoin. Again, everything I just said on here applies to here. So here is the hourly chart, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up this hourly chart from the perspective of the last tweet that I made, right? So I tweeted this out, I believe 2 days ago, where I initially tweeted this out at this point. You know what? Let me open that tweet as well. So this is where I initially tweeted this out. And what I said was, that Bitcoin wasn't really showing any signs of slowing down. And once we break this 1250 resistance, it should be really good because it's open air above us, right? It's all these like cup and handle patterns, but we didn't have a handle. So what I drew in last week's video, and anyone can go back and fact check me, I said that, well, one thing that is possible, all right, come on, is one of these. That didn't really work, did it? I said what was possible is one of these candles, one of these handles. You know, one of these was possible to create this cup and handle pattern. So I'm going to close this chart. And then I tweeted it out like a day or 2 days later. And you can see that we started forming this handle. And draw it again, right? So the first time I tweeted this out was around here, and I was talking about how we need to break the resistance, and we didn't, so we fell. And we also fell on, you know, news from Roger. And nope, we're forming this handle. You know, maybe it's over. There you go. Well, whatever. You know, it's not drawn to scale here, right? Maybe we've hit the bottom. Maybe we didn't. Maybe we'll swing a little bit lower one more time and then go up. I have no idea. Nobody does, right? But we're still forming this bullish cup and handle pattern. Okay. So remember what I said about negative correlation. So statements that gain momentum for Bitcoin Unlimited and hard forks negatively affect the price of Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin is negatively affected, here's what it looks like now, by the way. I extended my, you know, ASIC boost information processing zone. And this is, I expected this to be in decision for a while. When we broke above it, I thought it was over, and now we're back in it. So I'm back in, you know, the indecision processing zone. When Bitcoin falls, I'll get to that too. The best beneficiaries of Bitcoin falling are Ethereum and Dash and other shitcoins, basically, right? So when Bitcoin could not break above its resistance and go up, it fell. So when Bitcoin fell, Ethereum obviously did the inverse thing, negative correlation, and it went up. And so did Dash. So everyone immediately tweeted at me, making fun of me that I was wrong. Well, I guess, but the pattern didn't change. This is still an upside down cup and handle. So when Bitcoin forms its handle, what's going to and I don't normally talk about altcoins, guys, so like enjoy this while it lasts, because it's not going to last long. And the only reason I have these charts, by the way, is because someone paid for the tone-based consulting service and wanted to talk about Dash. Otherwise, I wouldn't have them. So what's going to happen now, most likely, is just... is it going to draw it or what? What's going on here? All right, let's try this again. Yeah, this is why I don't do these on, like, you know, in real time on live shows, right? So you're probably just going to get, you know, one more smaller handle. Can you bust out above the high? Sure, anything's possible. I mean, if Bitcoin continues to struggle, people are going to speculate and gamble in other ways, right? But most likely, you're just going to form a smaller handle on top of the handle, right? And let's see how this develops. And then this projection is still intact. I mean, nothing's changed. It's still in the bubble. And as for Ethereum, again, I'm drawing these way ahead of time. I really shouldn't be drawing these yet. The most likely scenario is just another triangle. Okay, why isn't it drawing? You know? It's just going to be another triangle, right? With another price target to the downside, right? Because the moment Bitcoin turns, all of these things will fall in price because the money is going to come back in. Now, on the flip side, if I look at Litecoin, man, you know, like I said, I don't know why I'm looking at like altcoins this much. I honestly don't care. Litecoin is very positively correlated with Bitcoin, right? So it's the complete opposite of Dash and Ethereum, because at the same time I tweeted out the bearish patterns in Dash and Ethereum, I tweeted out bullish patterns in Bitcoin and Litecoin. And just like Bitcoin couldn't break its, here, let me screenshot of when I tweeted about Litecoin. Yeah, where was that? Here. So this is what I tweeted about Litecoin, that the initial bearish triangle didn't materialize and we broke to the upside. And now I drew this green arrow and I said, well, the moment a Litecoin can break 1250, it's going to probably run up all the way to 15. That's what I tweeted. And I tweeted this at the same time as I tweeted out, you know, the Bitcoin thing. Also, that Bitcoin is getting ready. It's stuck at resistance, just like Litecoin was, right? So that's what I tweeted. So if you look at them today, this is where I tweeted it, right at this spot right here. And obviously it went down because it's correlated with Bitcoin. And now Litecoin, you know, is back up and it's, again, tried to break 1250, but it couldn't. And now it's trying again. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend this 1250 line, or close to it. It's meant to be like 1250. Right? Hard to draw straight lines. And you take this arrow and you move it over. Like you're waiting for the break, right? Like it needs to break that resistance point. How long will that take? I have no idea, right? If we go back to like the, I mean, look, 1, 2, 3, and then finally broke, right? And look at back here. 1, 2, didn't come close, 3, and then finally broke, right? So I mean, these horizontal resistance lines take a while to they take a while to break. Now here's the good news, right? Like once Litecoin breaks above this resistance point, right? We're not going to be charting blind. Like with Ethereum, you're charting blind. You're waiting for the bubble to pop. With Dash, you're charting blind. You're waiting for the bubble to pop. Litecoin was at $50 a few years ago, right? So once Litecoin goes up, you have precedent going back in time where you can kind of have some kind of reference points to where support and resistance are. Now, they are not going to be perfect, but at least it's better than running blind trying to guess the top. And I don't guess tops. I mean, if you're in a bubble, you're in a bubble. Bitcoin was in this bubble, twice in 2013 when it's, going to all-time highs in an exponential format. All right, so I'm done talking about altcoins. I wanted to get to this chart, which is what I tweeted out. So let me pull up the tweet it because it's cleaner. Is this it? No, that's not it. That's something else I want to talk about. Kind of jumping all around here. So I tweeted this out the other day where, so what you're looking at here is the difference in price by percentage terms between Bitstamp and Bitfinex. So right now, the price at Bitfinex is 4 to 5% higher than the price at Bitstamp. Now, this probably has to do with their Wells Fargo bank account, which is making it difficult for people to withdraw cash. So people are forced to buy Bitcoin. And if they move that Bitcoin to an exchange like Bitstamp, they are now forced to sell it at a 5% loss. So this creates a very weird situation. So I wanted to take a look how often things get out of whack like that. And the last time the price at Bitfinex was this much higher than the price at Bitstamp was during the Bitfinex hack when the difference reached 12%. And then during the Dow hack and Brexit, because they happened within a few days apart, you can see it right here. On June 18th, there was the Dow hack. On June 22nd, I think there was the Brexit. So things also got weird. Now, during the Bitfinex flash crash, obviously the price at Bitfinex crashed to 13% lower than the price at Bitstamp was. And other notable events, I mean, Bitstamp was also hacked. And when Bitstamp was hacked, the price of Bitcoin on Bitfinex actually was also higher. So it's like whenever Bitstamp or Bitfinex get hacked, because Bitfinex has leverage and I guess people short cover, things get weird and the price at Bitfinex goes up. And the other time things spiked was when government was selling a bunch of Bitcoin that they stole from Silk Road. Okay, and then I just with Google articles, right? So I tweeted that out the other day, so check that out. So I know I'm jumping around randomly a little bit, but I just want to once again point to the fact that Bitcoin had all this momentum after finally bottoming. And then Mike Hearn comes out, tries to fork Bitcoin with Bitcoin XT, kills all momentum, and Bitcoin price crashes. Bitcoin starts to gain really good momentum again. And then Mike Hearn is joined by Gavin Andreessen with positive tweets from Roger Ver You can see it right here on Wikipedia. I mean, you can't hide this shit. You know, that Bitcoin Classic comes out and it's being supported by Coinbase and Bitstamp and Circle and Jeff Garzik and Roger Ver and Gavin Andreessen. And so they come out, they kill all momentum, and the price of Bitcoin crashes. Now, the price seems to bottom when the nodes start to collapse and there's no public support, right? So this is where Bitcoin XT bottomed, when the nodes for Bitcoin XT crashed and people were no longer supporting it. And over here, again, things bottomed and they lingered much longer. Like Bitcoin got stuck in a run for like 4 months because Bitcoin Classic nodes also lingered, and then Bitcoin Classic nodes like crashed right here. Bitcoin nodes crashed right there around May of 2016. And you can see right here, so May would be in this area. So if this is June, right? So this is June. So May is like here. So if I draw this, I don't know why it's black, but if I start drawing this line up, not the best thing, but you can see that once the nodes actually crashed, Bitcoin once again started to go up. And the halving helped, of course. No, there's never one catalyst, right? And then we have all this great momentum. You know, China devalues the currency, get a little blimp right here. Make it red. Get a little blimp, you know, China devalues, you know, and then the regulators show up here and it recovers. And then boom, Ant Pool signals Bitcoin Unlimited and everything goes to shit. And then when the Bitcoin Classic nodes crashed, sorry, not Bitcoin Classic, Bitcoin Unlimited nodes crashed that time, price immediately rebounded, started to go up. Now that the nodes are back, the price is lingering once again. And somebody had a really good tweet the other day, or today actually. I don't even know this person, Alistair Milner. So this was a great tweet. I probably should have done this myself, but because it was obvious, because I tweeted the same thing out for the price. And he pointed to the moment Antpool started signaling for Bitcoin Unlimited, that's when a Bitcoin dominance immediately crashed. And the altcoins started to take off as well. Not just the Bitcoin price crashed, but also Bitcoin dominance crashed. And again, this makes sense, right? I mean, Bitcoin Unlimited is a very hostile piece of code that wants to take over Bitcoin, wants to get rid of all the smart people. They want to control Bitcoin. They want to control Bitcoin development. They don't want decentralization. They want miners to have to be in total control. And the moment they get any kind of momentum, confidence in Bitcoin drops and the price in Bitcoin drops. And those that are simply trading or gambling with Bitcoin, they will, you know, move that money somewhere else. They'll move it to, you know, whichever coin allows them to create more wealth for themselves, right? It has nothing to do with the technology. These people don't care. If these people cared more about the technology than trading and making money, they would use money and, you know, try to support Bitcoin Unlimited, become content creators or whatever, right? You know, help build some nodes, things like that. I do need to put out my node video. I just haven't gotten to it yet, guys. My node is running though. My segregated witness compliant node. So this was another good tweet. I mean, everything points to this correlation. Everything points to the correlation of the more support Bitcoin Unlimited gets, the more support big blockers get, the less confidence there is in Bitcoin and the lower the price of Bitcoin. And if I go to my notifications, man, I have a lot of notifications, guys. It's Looking for one specific interaction, which happened earlier in the day, but I get about 200 Twitter notifications a day, so it becomes a little trickier. Should have been a little more efficient here, but anyway, it doesn't matter. What I was gonna say was, like, people out there believe that if Bitcoin Unlimited is the right way to go, and it's okay if the price drops, and then it's gonna go up 1,000 times more because Bitcoin Unlimited is the right path. And that's just ridiculous, right? My view on that is, then why not hard fork every day, right? If hard forks are good and price drops are good, then why not just hard fork every day? And then you'll have, 800,000 different Bitcoins, right? Which we already go in there, right? I mean, with all of these altcoins. All right, so that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, one last thing. I tweeted this out. All right, where is it? Oh, here it is. Yeah, again, shout out to One Broker. I mean, I do use them to make those simple trades in the traditional markets using Bitcoin, just to throw $100 on a trade or something small. And they got a bad pricing error from GDAX. And, they refunded people the money. They so they didn't and they're an anonymous exchange, right? Nobody knows who owns them. And I do have an affiliate code for them because I use them. I treat them like I treat Cryptsy. I treat them like I treat Poloniex. Your value can disappear any minute. It's an unregulated exchange, so you have to trade at your own risk. But I like the service they're providing, and we'll see. The longer they stay in business, the better, and we'll see. Hopefully, if they're anonymous, there's less chances of a government stealing the Bitcoin in there, unlike a government compliant exchange if the government decides they don't like Bitcoin no more. But in this case, that was good. So it's shout out to One Broker in this case. Okay. And like I said, I do trade there, and I do have an affiliate code in my description as a disclaimer. But it's a risky exchange to trade on. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to take your questions. I see that Rich is here, and he's already compiled your questions for me. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on to your questions. So hopefully I'll try and go through them a little bit faster. Let me pull up the current chart. Oh, wait, I was gonna say about one more thing. Where's my chart? So I understand that right now the price on Bitfinex is 5% higher than the price on Bitstamp. And the reason I use Bitfinex is because I already have everything drawn on Bitfinex, and I'm not going to spend 8 hours redrawing this chart or whatever. I'm not going to spend 1 hour redrawing the same chart on Bitstamp. And people ask me to do Zcash or some of these other altcoins or Pivx or whatever. I'm not going to spend my time looking at those coins. But if you're really, really interested, again, Tonebase does have a consulting service for 0.1 Bitcoins per hour where we can put together any chart you like. And then I will have that chart, and I will then be able to occasionally talk about that chart on my live show. The only reason why I talk about the Dash charts, and I have other time increments. I have the hourly chart for Dash. I have the 5-minute chart for Dash. And that's because someone is contracting me to talk to them about Dash. Same thing with Ethereum, right? Same thing with Litecoin. Someone took me up on my offer, and we spent an hour or 2 hours talking about Litecoin, and I provided my thoughts. And there you go. And that's why I have the charts, and that's why I'm able to show them to you guys going forward. But for additional details, you guys got to hit me up privately. All right, now we can get to your questions. Yeah, so this is why I'm sticking with Bitfinex, only for my personal convenience. And I'm expecting the arbitrage to even out the prices again. Okay. Questions. The altcoins are really exploding. I have a feeling there will be a lot of, wait, that was more like a comment, right? I have a feeling there will be a lot of blood in the streets. The most ridiculous coins are pumping. Yes, that is true. There will be a lot of blood in the streets. I personally believe Dash has reached its high. I kind of believe Ethereum has reached its high, but with Ethereum, you never know. But they're going to go down. People in Dash are so upset at PIVX. I find it hilarious. I don't have time to talk about it. Maybe next show. How do you deal with losing coins to scams and or bad investments? You know what? You learn your lesson and you don't do it anymore, right? I never really lost too many coins to other coins. I never lost too many coins to hacks. I did lose a lot of coins because I was stupid and I wanted to fund a Bitcoin company or help support a Bitcoin company. And that caused the loss of half of the Bitcoins I owned at one point, right? So it's, you just, you live with it. You chalk it up to a bad investment. You realize that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself and your money is to do nothing. And this is why my money is fully split between Bitcoin and the stock market. A chunk that sits in the S&P 500. I have a chunk that I actively trade with options. And I have a chunk in Bitcoin, which is just sits there in Bitcoin. Because if Bitcoin fails, they all fail. I have my risk-reward ratio for trading in the options market is the best out of anything I can trade. So that's why I trade it. And you learn to live with it. Like I know some people that had to go to therapy because they've lost thousands of Bitcoins to Mt. Gox. And, you live with it. I never regret not getting into Bitcoin earlier. I knew about Bitcoin when it was under $1, but I didn't do it, but I didn't buy any. I knew about Bitcoin when it was $1 and I didn't buy any. I knew about Bitcoin when it was $5 and I didn't buy any, right? I eventually bought some Bitcoin in 2013. Yeah, I was late. I don't blame anyone. I don't blame myself for being late. It didn't seem like, the right investment at the time. And yeah, I didn't see its benefits. So when I recognized the benefits, I immediately run out and I bought Bitcoin, right? That doesn't bother me. And it's a lesson learned. And, you lose Bitcoins to scams and you educate people on how not to lose their Bitcoins. And they don't listen to you and they, put them all into Dash. And, when Dash goes to like $3, they will, educate the next person, right? Go talk to people that bought Aurora coin at $100. They'll teach you about altcoins. All right, next question. If you had a chance to look at bond market analysis, no, sorry, I haven't gotten to it yet. Well, let's take a look. You know what? Let's glance at it. Glance at the bonds real quick. All right, what's the next question? My thoughts on the user-activated soft fork and Maxwell's views. Well, Gregory Maxwell is a cautious person. He thinks that a user-activated soft fork, even with like 80, 90% compliance, but not having the miners on our side, could cause a contentious hard fork because of a user-activated soft fork. It's something that needs to be handled very carefully, and I agree with him. It's it's rough. It's you gotta be careful. I mean, you want to show the miners that you're supporting SegWit, and you need to get them to understand. All right, let's look at bonds and yields. Let me see here. Let's look at a 10-year note. Yeah, so the bond prices are going up. That means yields are coming down. Oh, this is interesting. This is a major support point. Let's look at it weekly. Right, so yeah. So just do a screenshot real quick. Oh, here's the weekly chart. You have fairly critical resistance right here. And it might actually be broken to the upside. So that means what you're looking at is they might go up to here and then they'll go down. So, so something like this. But you got to watch that resistance, right? Because the other option is this. Bonds are at a very critical support point. So if bond prices go up, that means yields are coming down. So if I go back to the daily chart, you are looking at this right here, very, very critical. This was a big fall in at the end of last year when the rate went up quickly. And if we go up, we're just gonna, probably to here, to 28. Seems like a good resistance point, most likely scenario. And then bond prices would fall because interest rates will rise. The moment we go under this line, things get ugly. They get really ugly for the U.S. government because their debts are going to go through the roof. So that's what you're watching right now. The next week in bonds is going to be very critical. This may also be the last chance you get to refinance your house at a very good low interest rate when the bond prices, when the 10-year yield goes up to 128, right? If I look at the 30-year note, it's going to look similar. Yeah, very similar, right? So there's your line, 155. So now you're going to look at 160, and then that should be your secondary top, maybe 165. We'll see. But I do think the top is in. I don't think I don't think this will be broken right here. I don't think we're going to break 70. I don't think we're going to break 170, and I don't think we're going to break 130. I think these numbers are here to stay. Maybe next week I'll pull up the actual yields, but it's an inverse relationship. All right, next. Do I know details about the Coinbase flash crash? No, I don't. That's probably the GDEX thing. I don't trade actively Bitcoin, so I wasn't really aware. I don't have any details. I agree predictions too far out are meaningless. However, at what point do we begin measuring Bitcoin in more fungible terms, especially on the exchanges? That is I don't know how to answer that question, guys. But I also just remembered someone asked me to comment on this chart. This is the same channel as mine. Yeah, it would have been cool if they used the Bitcoin Liquid Index from Brave New Coin, because they could have taken this down to 10 cents and then do the channel. It would have been cool. But maybe I can do it. And this is their channel projected to like 2023 and beyond. So it's kind of interesting. I think we're going to swing above the channel, and then we're going to swing below the channel, and then we'll, and then it's going to be a less steep channel because this is just insane. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know how to answer your other question. Maybe I'm a little tired. All right, next. Gold and silver are not listed typically by the kilo. They are listed by the smaller denomination of ounces. 1 Bitcoin is realistically closer to a gold kilo. Yeah, Yeah, probably, but it wasn't like 4 years ago, right? I mean, when a price of Bitcoin is reaching $10,000, $20,000, people will probably start referencing it as bits and not Bitcoin. So we'll see. For now, I like referencing it as Bitcoin. But yeah, I mean, these are just terms. It's whatever people start using. We're all in control of that. Haha. How did your geology background influence you as a trader? You know what? Having a science degree just helps. I mean, I not just geology, right? I mean, I took chemistry, I took physics, I took biology, I took astronomy. I took all the sciences. So having a science background, it just helps with attention to detail. It definitely helps with charting. I mean, I've looked at so many maps back when we were doing geology and hiking and stuff that it helped me a lot in finance as far as charting and what are the patterns that I see and how quickly I recognize them. So that helps a lot. Also, helps me understand the global warming bullshit, things like that. When is Bitcoin likely to turn? Well, in which direction, right? I think soon. I mean, I put this together without bias. I put this chart together way before Bitcoin Unlimited gained momentum, and I'm happy we are where we are. I'm expecting it to turn any moment. I mean, this arrow has been on this board since early in the year. I'm quoted in Bitcoinist as saying Bitcoin 2000 by mid-August, and then close the year between 1500 and 1750. I haven't backed away from those comments yet. So I'm hoping it'll turn soon. But if we fall below the 50-day moving average, might turn to the downside, and then I'll be wrong on my January 3rd predictions into the year. Since the Greg Maxwell post about why he's against the user-activated soft fork seems to have put a damper on that, when do you see SegWit coming in? I honestly see SegWit coming in. Well, I don't see SegWit coming in till the end of the year. I see SegWit being agreed to by end of the summer. I think people are gonna get fed up with attempts to hard fork Bitcoin. I think BTC Reddit is starting to turn on Roger. I see a lot of people starting to turn on Roger. I never wanted that, but that's what's happening. I mean, if you go to his Twitter account, what always happens to me? Hold on. I don't know what that is. Like if you go to his Twitter account, I mean, this was an insane tweet, right? I mean, just look at it, right? And it's pinned to his profile. It's been out for over 24 hours. And he says only a node that is mining is a true full node, right? And he only got 78 likes on this tweet. His tweets usually get 300 to 400 likes. He got 78. He got 137 replies. And almost all of these replies are like this. People aren't happy. Like the community is seriously turning on him. And it's unfortunate, right? Like no one really wanted it, but that's what happens. And you're looking at there'll be 200-300 replies by the time this is done because this tweet is pinned to his profile. Okay, so I think big blockers will stop because they're gonna realize that. I mean, I tweeted out that I just had a 4-day. Someone sent me a Bitcoin transaction with a fee, and it took 4 days to get a confirmation. People will eventually get fed up. They're going to want fast transactions. They're going to want cheap transactions. And they're going to realize that the only way to do so is with SegWit. And miners will have to oblige. Because remember, go back to this chart. I personally believe that if SegWit was adopted, Bitcoin would be over $2,000 by now. Easily over 2,000, right? I mean, look at if SegWit comes into the system, at least 75% of all this value in Ethereum goes back to Bitcoin. At least half of Ripple's value goes to Bitcoin. Probably 40 to 50% of Litecoin value goes to Bitcoin. 95% of value in Dash goes to Bitcoin. A bunch of Monero as well, right? Like all of this value goes back to Bitcoin. The Bitcoin dominance would break 90% easy once SegWit is activated on Bitcoin, right? So miners are going to realize that it's to their advantage to get SegWit because the price of a Bitcoin would go to $2,000 and beyond easily. And we all want that. Well, not all of us, right? I mean, some people want to buy Bitcoin on the cheap, and they may not want that. But I want it. All right, next. Spreads in third world countries, Brazil, India can reach 20% occasionally. Why nobody cares for arbitrage since volumes are reaching 500 BTC per day? Oh, of course they care. Lots of people care, but it's hard to trade on those exchanges, right? I mean, I know people that sell Bitcoin in Mexico on the street and then come back to the US with the money, but you're limited. You can only come back with $10,000 per person. And now you're carrying lots of money, so you better have some, armed guards. It's hard moving the cash. Like the problem isn't moving the Bitcoin. The problem is moving the cash. And if the spread is always 20%, then how are you going to get the value back across the border, right? What you want is one of these situations. Where is Maya? Right, where you can trade up and down. So you want something like this. You want something like this, right? Between only not 1% up and down. You want something like this that's like 5-10% constantly up and down. So you can sell on one exchange and hold dollars for a little bit. Then you flip it. Then you do it on the other exchange, right? You want to go back and forth without physically moving money from place to place. If you have to actually move the US dollars from place to place, it becomes a major problem, not to mention currency conversions. Have you ever tried exchanging euros at the airport? They're going to charge you like an 8%, 8 or 10% spread. So that completely eliminates your 10% spread on the Bitcoin. I mean, these things aren't simple. You need a specialty. You need to specialize in one market, and you need to have the means to move the physical cash over the border, which is not easy and is dangerous, and it's possibly breaking laws. If it was easy, everybody would do it. All right, next. Do you think increasing the number of retirees who by law must sell stocks from their IRA accounts will put a significant downtrend pressure on the S&P 500 and the Dow? No, absolutely not. It's the other way around. Very few retirees are holding their value in stocks for two reasons. One, the United States has always pushed, the older you are, they always push you into the safer investment of government bonds. Most pension funds not only hold their investment in bonds, they also put more of that investment in bonds the older the person is. So if an old person is taking out their retirement money, that money is coming out of the bond market, not out of the stock market. So that's another reason why interest rates would go up and the value of the bonds is going to crash. Now, in that situation, any young people that still have retirement money allocated to bonds and stocks, as they see bonds fall in price and stocks continue to increase in price, they're going to reallocate their portfolios to less safe bonds and more speculative stocks, causing even more pressure on the bonds. So I see that as the complete opposite situation. That would be a boon to the stock market, a continuation of the fall in the bonds. Is Bitcoin Unlimited done? Well, no, it's like a cockroach. It's hard to kill them all. BU is clearly still around and has a lot of influence. And every time they gain momentum, the price drops. That's why I wake up in the morning, and if the price has fallen, I just ask people, okay, what did the big blockers say? Because it was a direct result of the price fall. How many trades do you make a year roughly? Oh, that's a good question. So outside of like these play trades that I put together when I do these videos, my actual trades, I'm doing my best to lower the number of trades as much as possible. One of the mistakes I have always made throughout my life in trading is over trading. So after I quit my job and I became full-time trading, I was like day trading futures. And then I was doing all this trading. I would do like 5 to 10 trades a day in the futures market. And then I would do all of these option trades also, like directionally, bi-directionally, things like that. I recently closed my futures account because I wanted to focus on one particular specialty. At the moment, well, let's do this quarterly, right? So at the last year, towards the end of last year, I was doing about 30 trades a quarter. So that averages out to a little over 100 trades a year, like 120, 150 trades a year. So far this year, I have lowered that number to, I think I made maybe 15 or 20 trades in Q1, and I'm on pace to do maybe 20 trades, like 15 trades in Q2. I want to lower that number down to like 10 trades per quarter at most. And maybe I can lower that number again. So I'm just trying to find as much consistency as I can and only take on the perfect trade. Like at this point, if I take on a trade, it's almost guaranteed profit. Like that's how I look at trading now. And this has evolved over time. And this is why I want to narrow it down to like 5 to 10 trades a quarter that are my most certain trades. And my maximum loss on this trade is maybe 10%, which rarely happens. And my maximum gain on this trade is like 50, 60%, right? And 90% of the time, or 95% of the time, I'm making between 10 and 20% on the trade, okay? That's kind of what I'm shooting for these days. And I'm really trying to stay as patient as possible and trade as least as possible. If I can lower that number down to like 3 to 5 trades a quarter that are my gold trades per quarter, not literally the gold medal, like my golden trades, that would be ideal. I don't want to spend my entire life every day in front of a screen. So that's kind of my goal these days. Good question, though. All right, next. Can you speculate what are the reasons for supporting Bitcoin Unlimited? No, I can't. I honestly can't. It kills Bitcoin price. Yes, I agree. Power, yeah, it concentrates power, absolutely. But Bitcoin Unlimited would kill Bitcoin, so power over. Yeah, I can't, guys. I mean, there's only 2 reasons I have for Bitcoin Unlimited. One of them is they're purposely trying to keep the price low because they are either making money from altcoins or they want to accumulate more Bitcoin on the cheap, or it's completely related to ASIC boost, and they just want to dominate mining, and they have, you know, a relationship with Jihan and Antminer for to profit from an advantage in mining Bitcoin. I mean, I don't have any other explanations. I mean, some people are kind of brainwashed, but that's insane. All right, next. Is the anti-SegWit vote? Is the anti-SegWit vote pushing by Bitmain on the Litecoin chain currently affecting the trend of the price of Bitcoin? Well, yeah, they're completely correlated, right? Litecoin and Bitcoin are very highly positively correlated. So I don't know where Litecoin currently stands on the 75% SegWit activation, but if Litecoin activates SegWit and SegWit is running smoothly and Lightning starts to be tested on Litecoin, it's going to be good for Bitcoin because it'll just show the right path that you need to activate SegWit on a Bitcoin. And again, if Litecoin starts to go up in price to $15, $20, $30, because it has SegWit and Bitcoin is, falling to 1150, 1140, 1100, what is that going to say? I mean, it'll show these miners that activate SegWit and you triple the price of Bitcoin immediately and you make more money, even without ASIC boost. So it's is it power or is it profit? I think profit will eventually win and they will agree to SegWit. All right, someone is new to technical analysis. Why is that not a bullish flag on the 1 hour Ethereum Bitcoin chart? Well, let's see. Where's my Ethereum? Well, it's not a bullish flag because Ethereum is in a downtrend, right? This would be a bullish flag if Ethereum was in an uptrend. So over here, Ethereum is in an uptrend. So you have these bullish flags. But once it starts to go down, this is no longer a bullish flag. It's just, a bounce that may or may not be sustainable. Now, if this happened up here with some, pullbacks along the way, like this was a fairly healthy uptrend, healthier than what happened with Dash, and that's why we're having, that's why we're going down slowly in Ethereum. But yeah, to answer your question, the reason it's not a bull flag is because it's not happening in an uptrend; it's happening in a downtrend. Good question. Good smart question if you're new to TA. How long from now could it be until Lightning code could be implemented? Have any developers said a definite date? I don't know. They might have said a definite date. I haven't been paying attention. I haven't really been thinking about Lightning until we deal with the SegWit thing that has me completely drained at the moment. So best guess, after SegWit has been running smoothly, maybe six months after that, year tops. If you were late in 2013, what does that make us? No, I don't think I was late in 2013. I'm late according to some. Like a lot of people discredit my views on Bitcoin because I came in 2013 and not 2011. So a lot of people think that they know way more about Bitcoin because they came in 2011 or 2012, even though at this point they've been in Bitcoin for 6 years. Yeah, they've been in Bitcoin for 6 years, and I've been in Bitcoin for 4 years, right? So it's so the gap between me and the 2011 people is shrinking. But I mean, okay. So let me answer another question, right? So I wasn't late to the Bitcoin trend. I was late to being a Bitcoin multi-millionaire, and I'm not because I was 1 year late, right? Like had I bought Bitcoin even 1 year earlier, I would probably have at least a few $1 million if I didn't give it away, right? You also have to think about if I get into Bitcoin earlier, maybe I would have entered into some stupid ventures earlier. Maybe I would have put it all in Aurora coin. I don't know what I would have done, right? Hindsight is not always 20/20, right? Like you can say you would have bought all this Bitcoin and you would have held it, but guess what? Buying Bitcoin in 2012 probably meant you would have sent a check to Mt. Gox. And it would have been a high probability that you would have held that Bitcoin in Mt. Gox. That's why people like me that came in 2013 never lost $1 of Bitcoin in Mt. Gox, while people that came in 2012 and had thousands of Bitcoin lost thousands of Bitcoin in the Mt. Gox disaster. So it's very difficult to say if I would have had more Bitcoin today or less Bitcoin today had I joined in 2011 or 12, if I used them incorrectly, thinking that I knew better. I could have lost them all, and I could have been frustrated and never got back in and just ignored Bitcoin altogether. So it's hard to say where you would be today if you got in earlier. If you invest 50,000 now in Bitcoin and don't look at it for 10 years, will you be a millionaire at the end of the 10 years? If I had to choose a yes or a no, so let's see, 50,000 in Bitcoin, to be a millionaire in 10 years, you would need Bitcoin to go up 20 times, right? Because 10 times would give you 500,000, 20 times would give you $1 million. In 10 years, with 2 more halvings, I would lean towards yes, but Bitcoin is a speculative technology, right? I would lean towards yes. With the second likeliest scenario, your 50,000 would be worth 1,000, right? Like it's either $1 million or nothing. I mean, that's really kind of what you're looking for here. But between those two, the least likely scenario is that in 10 years you're pulling out exactly 50,000, and that's what they're worth. I believe they're going to be very valuable, but you never know, right? I mean, Bitcoin Unlimited took over, and then your zero possibility becomes a lot higher. Are you predicting a ridiculously large % increase in the stock market because you expect hyperinflation? No, I don't. I don't expect hyperinflation. But if hyperinflation happens, that will add to the increase in the stock market. I think the stock market will go up regardless of hyperinflation, which I don't see on the horizon anytime soon. I had my long-term chart of, maybe I'll pull it up. As it loads, I'll take the next question. No, that is independent of hyperinflation. But if hyperinflation happens, you're probably better off having your money in the stock market than in other places. Let's see, where's my INDU historical? I'll let that load. All right, next. I got about 3 questions left. I will cut this video in 10 minutes. I'm not having these things go more than an hour and a half these days. So we got 3 more questions. If I have time, maybe I'll let Rich pick one more for a question. Hey, thanks for helping me out here, Rich, and pulling the questions together. That also means I don't see your chat, guys. I'm just looking at the questions Rich is sending me. What do you think is the driving force of the global warming movement? If your studies in science cause you not to buy it? Taxes and money, right? And oppression. Government will use whatever tools at their disposal to be more in control of the people, and whatever gets them to tax you more, they will do. So the whole global warming initiative is you just follow the money. All these educators are paid with government grants and government money to put out bullshit science in order to give government the ability to tax you more for the purposes of saving the environment. The government can't protect the environment, and it just means to tax you. And also, they don't want to admit they're wrong. Imagine the fallout if they come out and admit that for the last 10 years, the planet has been cooling on average than warming, and we have a higher chance of having a mini ice age in 50 years than anyone dying from a heat stroke. Like, the science is just so different. And if they admit it at this point, it's going to look very bad for them. So, you double down on the stupid and hope that, the hammer doesn't fall on you. until you get out of, that sector, or you find another job, or you leave the government position that pushed it. So it's things like that, right? And yeah. It's also very debatable if global warming is even bad. If you look at the statistics, way more people every year die from cold than from heat. So if you had to choose which one, you're better off, with global warming than global cooling, because way more people die in the winter than in the summer, on average throughout the planet. I mean, these are basic statistics, guys. They're like heat mortalities versus cold mortalities. Just look it up, right? And you'll see the trends. It's insane. All right, where am I here? Do you trade other people's money? No, I don't. I don't like to deal with people anymore for this stuff, right? I'll advise people, like I can talk about what I think, what I see, but no, I don't trade other people's money. Also, for several reasons. One, I don't want to personally be responsible for other people's money, and two, I don't want to deal with the regulation that comes with managing other people's money. I'm debating whether I want to handle my family's money. And I would need to even prove to my family my nice, consistent minimum risk returns in order to even pitch to my family the ability to manage their money. And I'm not sure I want to be responsible for even my family's money. So no, I only like trading my own money. What allocation should I allocate stocks, bonds, Bitcoin? I don't know. It's up to you. I can tell you what my allocation is. Right now, my allocation between stock, I don't have anything in bonds. My personal allocation is between stocks and Bitcoin. So it's about 50% stocks and 50% Bitcoin. But out of the 50% stocks, like 80% of that I actively trade in the futures market. So, and the other 20 is in the S&P 500, okay? And you can protect your S&P 500 with protective puts. It's like insurance. You should look into that. And half the year, the money in my bonds is actually just sitting there in cash. I probably should allocate it to the S&P 500, but I don't want to accidentally catch, a bad month. I'd rather just keep it in cash, and then the moment I see an options trade that is my perfect risk-reward ratio, I take it. And I would put like 20 or 30% of my account balance into an options trade that potentially can give that can lose everything. But it's my expertise. I know what I'm doing. So I can actually put 20 to 30% of my portfolio on a single trade. But that's because my trade is so low risk. The maximum that trade would lose is 5%. And because that's how I structure the trade. That's why I'm able to do that. If your maximum loss on your trade is more than 5%, you don't want to put 30% of your account onto that trade, because then you can actually lose 30% of your account in one trade. But I can't really recommend it. It's up to, and I am nervous about my Bitcoin position, to be honest with you. Things aren't, smooth. I'm just taking a huge risk and a huge gamble, but that's me. What do you think about that Snap investor claiming Bitcoin will reach 500,000? I don't know who that is. I don't know what a Snap investor is. Snap to me is the food stamp program. So I don't know what. But if some guy is claiming Bitcoin would reach 500,000, I mean, yeah, anything's possible. If Bitcoin succeeds, then sure. It can reach that high. It's possible. If it happens tomorrow, we're all screwed. I can guarantee you that, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. On a long enough timeline, yeah, Bitcoin can reach that. That's as likely as it going to zero. How significant is F2 pool signaling for segment? Very significant. Yeah, it's very significant. F2 pool is huge. F2 pool is like the second biggest mining pool, or right up there. Them signaling for SegWit is what brought SegWit to Litecoin. So yeah, it's significant. All right, guys. On this note, I've been going for an hour and a half. I did break 200 live viewers, which is great during the Q&A. Thank you very much for tuning in. I am updating my blog with all my content. I'll keep you up to date on my conferences and my travel schedule. I was hoping ticket prices on United would fall in light of what happened on that airline. That doesn't seem to happen. I did wanted to do a little more travel. Wanted to buy some plane tickets cheaper. That didn't happen, so we'll see. I still might go traveling and take the show on the road, but we'll see. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for your support. Once again, shout out to one broker for refunding people money due to a bad GDAX print. And I do have an affiliate code with you guys because I do throw some trades on there, though I always talk about how risky these kinds of exchanges are. All right, on that note, I will call it a night. I'll see you all on my Wednesday show unless something very drastic happens and I got to make an emergency episode. All right, have a good night, everyone.